Yes. So, welcome you all uh, to the session on compensation today. So, we discussed selection process. Initially, we discussed recruitment process. Then we discussed about selection of the employees. We also discussed about training to be given so that their performance can increase. And then, so after that, when they start performing, even their performance was being measured. So all these topics were discussed initially. So today's topic of discussion is compensation management here. Myself, Professor Bharti Sungar from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. So whatever the employees are contributing to the organization, in return, they have to be given something. And that something is nothing but here compensation. Okay. So whatever contribution in terms of work, in terms of growth for the organization, in terms for productivity, performance, its brand image in the market, it can be anything. So all this can be achieved only when your employees are contributing towards your organization. So then only your then only your organization can flourish. So in return, whatever your employees are getting from the organization, so everything we call it as compensation. So there are basically three categories of compensations you can normally find out. That is the base pay, the variable pay, and the extra benefits. So what is this base pay? uh, See, when an employee is working in an organization, uh, his salary or wages or whatever it is fixed in nature. Okay, so that fixed part, that is, if he is able to meet the target or is not able to meet the target, whatever it is, that is a fixed pay he is going to get at any cost. So that is called as a base pay. Variable pay is something which depends upon his performance in the organization. So if he contributes more, if he's working extra for the organization, his variable pay will be fixed based on that. And then just like variable pay can be related to how much sales you have done this month. Okay, so based on that, extra variable pay as like incentives or commissions can be fixed up. So that is a variable pay. Then there are benefits. Benefits, like, they may not be in cash, but they may be in kind, like benefits like rewards, or a trip to a foreign trip, or outing with your family. Okay, or a free ticket to Wonderla. So such kind of benefits are given, or a free ticket to IPL cricket tournaments. So these are some extra benefits which your employees are going to get in return for their work. So all these facilities are given to your employees only to ensure that they are kept motivated, they are happy in your organization, and they continue to contribute their effort to the organization. So that effort is very, very much valuable. uh, just it is told, every drop of water together makes an ocean. The same way, every employee's contribution here is contributing to the success of the organization. Let us say if some employees are not working in the organization, let us say around in a organization of around mm, 10,000 people, around 500 people are not working or not serious with their work. So ultimately, who is going to suffer? The organization is going to suffer. Its performance, its results are going to come down. So for that reason, your employees should feel that whatever we are doing or contributing to the organization, we are getting good returns in that. When they are happy, they will continue to contribute, they will continue to work in the same uh, or enthusiasm, so that the organization can achieve its goals and objectives here. So base pay, variable pay, and benefit. So these are the three basic types of pays you can normally find in organizations. So what is the main objective behind this compensation system? why actually this compensation system is necessary, and what are the main objectives behind it. One is internal equity. Mm, in our institute, let us say, like principal gets the highest salary, the deans and HODs gets the next highest salary, and then comes the professors, assistant professors, and associate professors. So why it is like that? Why not? There can be argument like, peons or attenders are working from morning till evening, why not they are getting more salary? The reason only is because of the nature of the job. So here, whatever nature of the job is, based on that, your compensation will be fixed up. So how difficult is your job, how complex it is, what kind of decision making abilities you need to work on that job, then what problem solving abilities you should have to perform that job, then how much is the risk taking in that particular job involved. So all these factors will decide how much compensation is supposed to be given to every kind of a job in the organization. That internal equity has to be has to be made properly, so that based on the nature of the jobs, the compensation can be fixed up. So all the people cannot get the same salary here. Internal equity means not everybody getting the same salary here. Worth of the job has to be paid. Okay, so what is the worth of the job in the organization? That is how your pay has to be fixed up. So that equity has to be brought in. Then external equity. External equity in the sense, in other organizations, the same job, how much is being paid. You have to ensure that you get this information as a management person and pay your employees also fairly. Okay, so if you are not bringing that in external equity in the organizations, what happens is people may shift to other jobs, or people may shift to other companies. They should feel that you're you're they are quite happily compensated. Okay, so they are fairly compensated compared to other companies in the market. So one of the highest paying companies is Google. Okay, in IT sector, you can say. So if a person is working in Google, he will never think of leaving that organization and shifting to some other organization. Why? Because he is already being paid compared to other organizations more. Okay, at least if not more, at least you should pay on par with the uh, other companies in the labor market. So that is very, very important. That internal equity has to be brought in, and that is one more objective of compensation planning in the organization. So whenever the management or the HR department plans to give compensation or fix up compensation to their employees, they should know how much other companies are paying for the similar jobs in the labor market. That is external equity. Then comes individual equity. So here, where equal pay is ensured for equal work. So if you are putting your effort 100%, you should be getting 100% for pay for it. Okay, so if at all your effort is 110%, but still you are getting only 90% of your effort being paid, that means you will be unhappy with the organization. So that individual equity has to be brought in, where whatever work or contribution you are doing for the organization, you are being paid worthy enough, right? So if you are not paid worthy enough, you may feel unhappy, you may think of leaving the organization, and you may start searching for jobs in the market. So to bring that internal equity, external equity, and individual equity, you need to properly manage your compensation system in the organization. Other than these, there are many other objectives. One more objective is to attract talent. Until and unless, let us say for IITs or IIM kind of institutes, what happens is, whenever the companies come for campus recruitment, the company which pays the highest salary is going or highest package is going to be allowed to come into the organization and conduct the campus recruitment. Why? Because the most talented people are taken away by those people. So all these talent, if at all I'm worthy enough, I'm talented enough, I may get attracted to only higher salary or compensation being offered by organizations. So that is why if you want the best, you pay the best. Okay, that is a simple rule you should follow to attract the talented people to your organization. When you have the talented people, you can make use of them. You can get the work done in more effective manner. You can increase your performance of the organization using those talented people. They are like assets for your organization. At the same time, not only attract the talent from outside, you should also retain your own talent. If already talented people are working in your organization, you should ensure that they are retained back in the organization. They are not going to leave your organization. So most of the times what happens is, if other companies are paying them higher salary, uh, they are talented, they can always go and shift to some other company. So you should ensure that these talented people stay back with your organization. As I said, talent is nothing but asset for the company. So that is why ensure that they stay back. To make them stay back, what kind of compensation you are supposed to fix them or give them, give them. Okay, ensure that they are given. Then ensure equity in the sense internal equity, external equity, and individual equity. We have already discussed that. Then reward appropriately. I told you this based on the experience, based on the problem solving abilities, risk taking abilities, based on their commitment, loyalty. Uh, okay, all these things you have to consider and you have to reward appropriately. So let us say two persons who are friends, who are qualified equally, who have equal work experience, have come and joined an organization. But the first person gets higher salary compared to the second person in the coming days. Why? Because there may be various factors for it. Okay, he is highly committed, he is very loyal to the company, and he is very good with the seniors or superiors and other employees in the organization. So these small behaviors in him has made him special compared to the second person. And that is why if you are not paying him appropriately, he may feel demotivated. He may feel that if I second person is also getting the same salary than like me, why the hell I should become more committed? Why extra I have to work? Do I have to show loyalty towards my organization? I'll also be like him. So such is what it may result into. So that is why whatever rewards you are going to fix up for your employees, fix it up appropriately based on some factors. Okay, then you because the company is profitable, the company is the best most profit making company in the market, you cannot just start spending on salaries of your employees. You should ensure that you pay on par with the market, but not heavily compared to the market. Okay, so by doing so, you can control the costs of the unnecessary costs in the organization. Just because your heart is too big, you just cannot go on paying the employees in the organization. Okay, silly things, small achievements also, big incentives or big benefits. You cannot start giving them because on the other hand, of course, you have to give them, but on the other hand, you should also ensure that control is put on the expenditure of salaries, okay, or compensations. So that also you have to keep in mind, and for that reason only you have to plan your compensation. Okay, so how can you cut down cost, where can you cut down cost, how much I can pay to my employees, how much other companies are paying, so what should be my salary for my employees. So all these things keeping in mind, you have to plan your compensation system. Then the another objective of compensation planning is whether the company is following the legal rules and regulations or not. Okay, so there are government has instructed with certain acts here regarding compensation. So what are those acts? What are those legal rules, and whether the company has is complying with those rules and regulations or not. So for that also you need to plan your compensation. Keep all the rules and regulations considered when you are planning your compensation package for your employees. Then if you plan your compensation system properly, it will be easy for you to operate. Let us say if a new employee joins the company, immediately you can identify in which grade he in which grade he falls, and how much the okay, so in which grade he falls and how much compensation has to be fixed up. So if everything is planned properly, it will be easy for you to operate and fix up compensations or benefits for your employees very easily. So that is why you need to plan your compensation system. So these are few objectives you can find related to compensation planning here. So it was initially discussed regarding job analysis. Another result of job analysis is job evaluation. So why this is very much necessary? Because it will help to understand the worth of the jobs, and at the same time it will help you to understand how much the job can be paid. Okay, so here wage and salary surveys can be conducted to understand how much the other companies are paying for your employees, for their employees, sorry. So let us say if you are in the automobile sector, there are 10 different automobile companies in that sector. So how much the other automobile companies are paying for the job of a production engineer or a mechanical engineer? So you have to conduct a survey. So these wage and salary surveys will help you to understand how much the other companies are paying, and considering that factor, you can fix up your own salaries for your employees. Okay, so wage and salary surveys is not an easy task to conduct. So nowadays, what is happening is there are research agencies who conduct these surveys and keep this data with them. So your automobile company has to approach these so-called research agencies, pay the amount worthy for that data, and get that data from them. So readily available data is there related to wage and salary surveys with research agencies. So you don't have to break your heads to collect the data from all the organizations in the industry. So that headache is not there for you. Nowadays, research agencies are doing it for the company. Then, uh, then think of grouping the similar jobs into pay grades. Uh, in our organization, we have principal grade, we have deans, we have HODs, we have faculties. In faculties, again, we have three categories: professors, associate professors, and assistant professors. Then we have clerical staff. Under clerical staff, we have FDS, first division assistant, and second division assistant. Then we have financial finance officer and accountants. Okay, office managers. Then we have peons and attenders at the last grade. Okay, so there are 3 or 4 grades of pay which are there existing in our organization. So here in other organizations also grades can be fixed up based upon the nature of the jobs. If they all come under executive class, that is one pay grade. If they all come under managerial class, that is one pay grade. If they come under zonal head class, that is again one more pay grade. So like this, try to group those similar jobs, similar nature jobs, and define pay grades in the organization. This will be helpful for you to fix up compensation for those pay grades. Okay. So each price each uh, pay grade. That is what I said, right? So fixing up of compensation for each pay grades can be done very easily. Let us say the executive class in the organizations, they will be paid from 28,000 to 40,000. That is a price fixed up, the range of the price fixed up for the pay grade of executive employees. That means the least payment in that class, he can get 25, and the highest payment he can get is 40. 40,000. Okay, so if you are you're a fresher and you're not an experienced person, you may be paid around 20, around 25 to 30,000 rupees. You are highly experienced and you are a very good performing employee in the organization, you may be paid up till 40,000 also, right? So more than 40, normally that pay grade will not allow you. Why? Because now if you have reached 40,000 rupees, that means you are eligible for higher positions and higher salaries, right? So we'll not discuss about that now, but here these pay grades will help you to fix up the price ranges so that you can easily fix up the salaries or compensations for the new joinees. Then fine tune the pay rates and determine the wage structure. So look into all the aspects, above aspects, try to understand how the market is paying, and somewhere make some modifications in the pay rates, and try to come out with a systematic good wage structure for the organization. So using this wage structure, you can easily decide upon how much money can be, or salaries can be given to your employees. Then uh, let us try to understand what are the components of the pay structure. Normally, if an employee is being paid with the uh, salaries or compensation, major two essential things you can find. One is basic wages, second one is the dearness allowance, and there is the third one, that is the benefits here, right? So these are three major components, but two essential components. So basic wages and dearness allowance are fixed, that is very essential components of the structure, pay structure. The extra benefits or incentives is optional in nature compared to organization, from organization to organization. So what is this basic wage? So we have already understood it. The basic wage rate is fixed in nature and it depends upon the skills which are required to complete that job and experience needed to perform that job, the kind of difficulty of that work, training required, the risk and responsibilities involved, and the hazardous nature of the job. So based on this, basic wages are fixed. Let us say if there is a worker working in a mining area, especially diamond mining area, what is his job? Just to dig and get the stones and mud outside. That is the simple job for him, but he is being paid 50,000 rupees per month. You must be thinking, madam, what he does, he goes inside and he digs the earth and he just puts out the stones and mud outside. What is the so difficult job here? Yes, the job is hazardous in nature. A person in the mining area around 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers inside the ground, it is very, very hazardous for health. Anytime his life may be at risk. Anytime the earth may collapse. Anytime water may get into the tunnels of the mining areas. Any point of time, he may be lacking oxygen supply and he may collapse there itself. So the nature of the job is very hazardous. The risk involved is very big. So for that reason, he may be paid more compared to other jobs in the company. So like this, basic wages are fixed up based on various factors related to the job, and this wage is going to be fixed in nature without deviation. Variable pay is different. It is attached to the basic wages. So if you perform more, if you are working more harder, if you are producing more products per day compared to the target setup, then variable pay can come into picture here. Other than that, there is something called as dearness allowance. uh, it is a kind of a part of your salary, which is given occasional due to the rises or rises in the prices of the essential commodities. So to meet, because every day you cannot change the basic wage rate, it is fixed in nature. It may be every yearly or biannually it may be changed, but dearness allowance is totally different. It is also called as DA. Every regularly, especially 2 to 3 times in a year, this dearness allowance is given to the employees to cope up them with the rises in the essential commodities. So whenever there are hike in the essential commodities in the market, dearness allowance is announced to the employees. In government sector, every year 2 to 3 times dearness allowance is announced. For what reason? Because suddenly there may be a rise in the prices of the commodities. So the employees may not be able to uh, take care of their family just using these basic wages. They may need something extra, and that extra is given to them as a part of dearness allowance. So just for your example, legal rules and regulations. Okay, so there is something called as Workers Compensation Act. So this act will tell about, it defines rules and regulations for wages to be given in the leave period. Whenever the employee is on leave, what kind of wages have to be given to them. It also talks about holiday pay. Okay, that means Sundays are being paid for you. Let us say there is vacation for you, that is being paid. So what are the rules and regulations for holiday pay? Then overtime pay. If the employee works more than 8 hours in a day, okay, every hour gets, let us say per hour he is getting 100 rupees. The extra overtime what he does, he will be getting it 1.5 times of the pay. That is 150 rupees for 1 hour. So such are certain conditions or rules and regulations which are defined in the Worker Compensation Act, which every company has to follow whenever they are designing the compensation system. There is one more called as Payment of Wages Act. Here it talks about if you are throwing out the employee without notification, so how much amount or compensation you have to give them. If you are doing it through notice, how much payment has to be given. And if he is being discharged from the services or duties, what is the gratuity which is supposed to be paid. So these are a few examples or of legal rules and regulations from the government which the companies have to follow. So that the third category of pay structure, that is, one is base pay, second is dearness allowance, and third one is benefits. Incentives or benefits like bonus can be there. Okay, so every year based upon the company's profit, bonus can be fixed up to the employees. If the payments are also made under profit sharing schemes, there is something called as ESOP, Employee State Option Sharing Plan. So this under this option, what they do is they instead of giving them cash or hike in salary, they give them they give them shares of the company. 2 shares, 3 shares, 10 shares, 20 shares, like this. Shares of the company are given to the employees, and employees start sharing the profit of the organization as shareholders. So I will become a small owner of the company. Then he may be 10 shares also, but I am a stakeholder of the company. I will become the partial owner of the company. So when I am the owner of the company with the shares in my name, easily you can expect me to work more and more, because when I am the part of the company, I will work more, I will make the company more beneficial. And when company becomes more beneficial, I'm the one who is going to be more profitable, because I'm having shares in that company. So this is ESOP plan for the for motivating the people in the organization. Then house accommodation facilities can be given, that is housing rent allowance. uh, the house rent can be paid by the company, or accommodation can be given by the company to stay there for the time period where you are going to work in that company. Medical allowances are given, traveling allowances are given, especially with work related traveling allowances. Then any other sum paid in defray related to special expenses incurred by the worker. You have gone on meeting to some other place, you have stayed there in the hotel, you had lunch or dinner there, you had to spend amount on local conveyance. Okay, all these can be considered as special expenditures. Then at the same time, the company should also contribute to the pension and provident fund of the employee. So these are all facilities, are the extra facilities or benefits which the employee will be getting other than the basic pay and the dearness allowance, or the kind of variable pays. Okay, so these are the components which you can find in the organizations related to compensation. So now let us try to understand how the wages and salaries have to be administered. See, what is this wage and salary administration? Wage is something which is given to lower class employees. The wages may be on day-to-day basis. Okay, so it is the wages are fixed on day-to-day, salaries are fixed on monthly basis. Please understand that. So this wage and salary administration is nothing but a kind of a process of managing the company's compensation program, which includes your base compensation as well as the variable pay as well as your dearness allowance or extra benefits, whatever it is. Here, it refers to the monetary payments to employees in form of wages and salaries. It is fixed in nature, non-incentive kind of payment calculated based on how much time you have spent on your job in the organization. So supplementary compensation signifies incentive payments here based on the actual performance of the employee. So whatever wages and salaries you are talking, they are always base pays. Okay, they are fixed in nature. Other than that, whatever performance you are giving, that actually leads to incentive payments. So all this have to be managed appropriately in the organization. So the main objective behind having a systematic administration department in the organization is to establish a fair and equitable remuneration. Everybody has to be paid fairly, no partiality, no biasness in the employees, attract competent personnel. We have already discussed about attracting talent, the same thing, to retain the talent, then to control the labor cost, to motivate the employees morale and increase the employees morale and motivate them, to project a very good image about the company. So these are some things you should consider when you are administering the wage and salaries here. So there are a lot of factors which are affecting compensation levels. So what are these factors? The first thing is job needs. What is the level of skill required to perform that job? So this will influence the compensation levels. Compensation level means how much salary or amount you are going to pay in return for the work done by the employee. So if the skill required to do that job is more, that means he may have to be paid more. If the skills or competencies or knowledge required to do that job is lesser, he is going to be paid less. So what actually the job needs, what kind of knowledge, skill, abilities the job requires, so that the compensation can be fixed up. So that is the first point which affects the fixation of compensation levels. The more the complex job, the more the salary. The easier the job, lesser the salary. Then ability to pay. The company should have the ability to pay the best salary in the market. So if the company is a startup company, it is very small, they may not be in a position to pay more to their employees. Okay, so at that time they may have to compromise with the quality of the employees. So that is why ability to pay, very important factor which influences the compensation level. So the company is willing to pay more, but if it does not have that ability to pay more, nothing can be done. So when you are fixing your compensation levels, yes, even ability to pay for the organization will be considered. Then cost of living has to be considered. Uh, an employee who is an unit manager in ICICI Bank, he works in Hubli, another person works in Bangalore. Both of them are in same position, both have joined at the same point of time. Okay, but the salaries of both the people may be different here. That is what is cost of living. Why? Because as I told you about dearness allowance, basically it talks about fulfilling the price hikes in the essential commodities. If you are getting 30,000 rupees in Hubli, you can easily lead a happy life. but the same 30,000 rupees may not be enough in a metropolitan city. So there the cost of living will be more. So that is why dearness allowances changes from place to place also sometimes. That is cost of, you have to consider the cost of living also when you are fixing your compensation levels. Then prevailing wage rates, how much the other companies are paying in the industry. So that is to be understood, studied, and that is going to be, that has to be considered when your compensation levels are also being fixed up in the organizations. Unions can be a very strong factor influencing the compensation levels. If the union is very strong, they may influence you to fix up higher salaries for the employees in the organization. If the union is weak, you can easily exploit your own employees in terms of salary. Then productivity. Of course, the more the productivity, the more the compensations can be fixed up for your employees. Sometimes orders may be less. At that time, productivity may have come down from in the organization. Sometimes what happens is you may have to pay less to your employees also. So variable pay differs here. Productivity basically is connected with variable pay here. Then state regulations, rules and regulations of the government, it also influences the compensation levels. You cannot fix whatever you want. You have to follow the rules and regulations of the government here. And lastly, demand and supply of the labor. If the demand is more, the supply is less, ultimately the people will start expecting higher salaries. But if supply is more, you can exploit the uh, candidates who are planning to join your organization and get compensation. So if supply is more, the company will be at the winning side to exploit the employees by paying them lesser salary. But if the supply is less, you are on the weaker side. The employees will be on the opposite side, stronger side, where they will start demanding salary, more salaries for their talents. So that's it, guys, for today. We will be continuing compensation, executive compensation